don't forget to click that subscribe and bell icon to receive a notification each time I upload a new video. Hi everyone, it's Mark here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So a few months ago I was asked to design a traveller's notebook kit based on the one that Ian and I created earlier in the year. Do you remember that one? The Medite art journal kit with the big hinges and the spine that already had all the holes drilled in so that you didn't have to faff about stitching through. So based on that, I was asked to create a traveller's notebook version. But the version that I was asked to create was bigger than this. It was to fit some specifically sized pieces of watercolour rag paper. So I created that and it was done for a class and it was very successful and everybody loved it. And then afterwards I thought, do you know what, I could theoretically modify my set that I did, the Medite journal set, in the same size and create a traveller's notebook that would fit within that same kind of aesthetic as the previous one. So I did. Let me turn over to my overhead camera and I'll show you what I've created. So this is the new traveller's notebook version of the art journal kit. So obviously the lights are going to shine and glare off the plastic, so here's what it actually contains. So I'm just show you, you've got the two front covers, so the front and back cover. Notice there are no holes in there this time like there was in the last one. The last one was so you could use either fabric binding or ring book or book rings. Not going to need that on this one. So the spine on this one only has two holes, so one at the bottom, one at the top. The one of the old kit had all the ones for the stitching of the signatures in there, up to 5 signatures, and you could do either 3-hole pamphlet stitch or 5-hole pamphlet stitch. On this one, because it's a traveller's notebook, it only needs elastic. So just 2 pieces of elastic, that's all you need for the binding of this one. I've only done the spine at 1.5 inches wide, whereas the one for the stitched journal is a 2-inch spine, but this one's only 1.5 inches, 38mm in new money. So that's what you get as the basic kind of journal set. So the decorations on it, I've included a laser cut kind of label spine that fits just lovely on the outside of the journal. It won't interfere with the elastic because the elastic threads through these holes into the inside of the journal, so this will sit quite nicely on the outside of the journal without getting in the way. And also I've included in the kit 8 decorative flourish kind of corners that you can put on the front and the back cover if you want. Obviously that's totally optional for you. If that's what you want to do, you can leave it blank, you can leave it completely plain, entirely up to you. But that's what you get in the new Traveller's Notebook journal kit, which is now on sale on my website. I have not included any elastic in with the kit, mainly because the thickness of elastic that you will need to use really needs to be appropriate to the weight and the thickness of the paper that you're going to put in your journal. If it's only going to be thin sketch paper, that kind of thing, then you don't need a thicker elastic. Whereas if you're going to be putting in heavy duty cardstock and watercolour paper and that kind of thing, you'll probably need a thicker elastic, one that's appropriate. The holes that I've put in there will accommodate anything up to about 6mm, or what's that, 1/4 inch? 6mm? About 1/4 inch? Yeah, so anything up to that. So that's the basic journal. So what I want to do today is I want to show you how I'm going to decorate the version that I want to create for myself. Okay, these are obviously totally customizable. You can decorate them in whichever way you want to. So I'm just going to take the decorative corners off and that label plate to start off with, and I'll show you what I'm going to do for the front covers. I'm going to take away the spine because I'm going to decorate the front covers completely independently. Right, so from an old K&Co paper set, I've pulled out two sets of papers. So I've got, obviously, sunflowers being my favourite. I'm going to do my front and back covers in the sunflower, so they're going to be on the outside. And on the inside, I've got this paper which is kind of florally, but has bumblebees or honeybees on the inside. So I'm going to give my traveller's notebook a kind of field note, entomology kind of theme for it. So, and it doesn't matter what side you use for your front and your back. So let me just pop one of the covers to one side for now and bring one of the sheets out. So for me to be able to demonstrate this really, really quickly without using glue and having to wait for glue to finish and set and dry and all the rest of it, I've put double-sided adhesive sheeting on the back of my paper. So all I'm going to do is just peel off the back. I'll do one and then I'll jump in time to where I've done both of them. So make sure I've got it the right way up. So that's going to be upwards. So I've taken my front cover and I'm just going to drop it onto the paper. I'm not particularly bothered if I've got it 100% straight. And I'm just going to push that down, make sure I've got a good even bonding all the way over, and I bring out my cutting mat, and because the Medite is 2mm thick, you can really get away with just using your craft knife to go around, because it's stable enough to act as a straight edge. Obviously just pay a little bit of attention going around the corners. And it would help if my scalpel blade was actually sharp and probably not as blunt as a teaspoon, but...
Good afternoon, good morning.
Oh, hello. Hello.
You're using a blunt scalpel blade?
I am using a blunt scalpel blade.
Oh,
what did your mum used to say?
Excuse the language, but riding bare ass to London.
You could ride bare ass to London.
Yorkshire saying.
Yes, meaning it's not very sharp.
It's not very sharp. Right, I'll see you later. I'm going to the doctor's.
Oh, okay. You're going for your injection?
I'm going for my injection, yeah.
Okie dokie. I will see you in a little while. Mr. Bentley, okay downstairs?
He is sat here looking at me.
Oh, okay. Is he thinking you're going out for a WLK?
We will do when I come back.
Ah, right, fair enough.
Bye everyone, see you later.
Right, yes, it would have helped if I'd used a proper scalpel, wouldn't it? He's telling Bentley where he's going. The dog's looking at him like, as if to say, well, why are you going without me? As they do. Okay, so, there we go. So that, get rid of that. So that's going to be the inside. Don't worry about scruffy edges, because I've also got a Henry board and I can just go around the edges, just giving it a little bit of a tidy up once it's stuck down. Now I'm going to do exactly the same thing. He says just quickly whiz around there. It's not a serious injection it's going for, it's only a B12 booster. Okay, so that's one side. I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the front. So just like that, and I'm going to position it pretty much where I want it to appear with those sunflowers. So I'll just quickly do this, and I will get a new scalpel blade for the next one. But again, you can use Mod Podge, that kind of thing, I'm just positioning it so I get, actually, let's just do it so I get decent amounts of sunflowers. That'll do. Okay, so flip that over and then I can do the same thing. Right, let me just put in a new scalpel blade. I'm having one of those days when I can't even tear paper. Weak as a kitten today. I am. Right. Okay, let me just quickly do this. I'm going to do it off camera because just in case I slip, I don't want anybody to faint if there's blood. I'll see you in a little while. Okay, I'm back. Didn't draw blood. I was very safe. Right. So now I've just got to be very, very, very careful now going around the edges. Because obviously it's very, very sharp. Now I'm just going to cut across that way. So I've got a lead edge there that I can use just to pull around. Now you see, what I didn't check was to see whether or not I'd actually got the sunflowers the right way up. So let's just hope. So I think that should be it. Yeah. So that should now just pull straight off. Nope, nope, didn't go far enough there. Super duper. Right, let's just see. Did I do it the right way up? Yeah, that'll do. That's alright. There we go. So, one outer, that's it, one outer, one inner. Right, I'll go away and I'll do the other one and then I'll be right back. God blimey. Okay, I don't think I could get that any simpler. So there's going to be my two covers, and that's going to be the inside of my journal. So what I need to do now is to attach the spine. So let me just clear up those little bits there, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. So let's bring the spine back in. So this is going to be the inside of the journal. So we don't need it to be totally and utterly aligned perfectly, although aligning it, let's just see if I can get that aligned with the lines on my cutting mat, would go somewhere towards, you know, it being fairly decent. Now, what I like to do with these kind of journals is I like to use a fabric on the spine. Okay, so I went looking in my fabric collection and I got all these that were kind of florally, that one's a bit too much, that's way too much, it doesn't really go with that at all, it's way too fussy, that's a bit too grey. I like it, but it's a bit too grey, and there's not enough of it either. That's just me out. Not enough. Like that one, but it's too blue. Doesn't really go with the sunflowers. So that's out as well. But I did find two strips from some, I think this is Tim Holtz material. I can't be sure. Or it could be Seven Gypsies or some, one of those companies anyway. And we've obviously used this in the past because it's already got the self-adhesive sticky on the back, which is very, very useful. Thank you very much. Ian must have done that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put those two covers to one side, grab the spine, and I'm just going to straighten it off, or straighten off the paper, the backing, as straight as I can possibly get it. Now that I've put a new scalpel blade in, it shouldn't be too difficult. There we go. And then I'm going to just line up the bottom and then just put a little mark on the paper where the top is. And then I can run straight, or as straight as I can get it, there, and then I can just flip that over and do the same thing. Yes, I was just wondering where the scalpel had gone then. And thank you to those of you that said it's under the ruler, because I know you do talk to me. I know you do tell me where I put things. And I know that because you tell me that you've been shouting at the screen. Right, I'm just tidy that bit up. That could do with being just a tad taken off there, because I wasn't quite straight on there. And then that's okay, and then that piece there, we'll just take that extra piece off the edge. Now of course you can use whatever fabric you've got, whatever fabric you like. Cut up an old tea towel, an old pillowcase, an old duvet cover, whatever you like. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just peel the back off this. It's a bit more tricky when it's on fabric than when it's on paper. Fabric's a bit more floaty. What did I do with it? There it is. Let me just see if I can separate the back. I've been very, very careful, don't worry. I know you worry about me. There we go. Sometimes it's easier when you've got a blade. Right. So let's line that up with that, and then I'm going to let me turn it around that way. Now let's get it in shot so you can actually see what I'm doing. Right, I'm going to just lift it up a little bit, get it half and half. So that should be, yeah, pretty much in the middle. Okay, so let's take the covers and we'll do this. This is going to be that's going to be the inside. So I'm going to line it up with the fabric and just drop it down. And then if I get my head in shot, I do apologise. How's that, do you think? Too far? No, I think that will do. So what I need now is a little bone folder, one that isn't gummed up with glue, and I'm just going to burnish that down. And of course it doesn't matter now, we can crease, that's fine, flexible as almost anything. Right, so for the second piece, all I have to do now is just lay that over the top. So let's see if we can get, again I'm having to just pick. Have I got it? Is it there? There it is. Now, before I stick that down, I just want to flip that over a little bit and just try and position so I know where the holes are going to go. There we go. Just give it a rub and then we can just go straight in where the holes are. Okay, so we'll take the second piece. So this is going to be the outside of the journal. So I'm going to line that up. Come on. Tricky, tricky. I may have to stand up actually. No, I don't think I will. Let me just roll that back. So I'm only dealing with half the tape. This is easier if it was going to be wet glue, wouldn't it? Right, so I reckon about there. Come on. Okay, take the bone folding out and I can push bits together. Now I know where the holes are. We can go all the way through. And then we can just trim off any excess. And there's our covers. Now, have I got... No, I was just going to look for some kind of pokey tool. So if you're feeling brave, you could just maybe push a pokey tool through there. That's it. Just pull those apart a second. And then I can run the bone folder in between just to make sure we've got that tight. There we go. Because it's fabric, it is rather forgiving. So there's the covers. So let me just quickly run my scalpel just around there like so, and then have we got, no, I think that's okay actually. I think that's going to be okay. I do wish, have I got a pencil? There we go. That's just going to help kind of show you where the holes are going to be. And then on the inside you can just run the pencil back through as well. Okay, so short break, time for a cup of tea, and then I'm going to have a bit of a tidy up and then I'll be right back. Okay, so next step, I've got a distress inking blending tool foam thingy. I know. And I've also got some indigo blue artist's metallic acrylic paint. So this is in Brass Monkey. I thought gold would be a little bit too much for this journal. It would be far too yellowy, if you know what I mean. Whereas the brass kind of complements it a little bit better. So I'm just going to drop a little bit on the worktop there. Fairly heavy body-ish, but I'm just going to use the ink blending foam to soak up the paint. Just like that. And then I'm going to spout. So doing it like this, you get a sort of hammered brass effect, or an antiqued brass effect. And I haven't gessoed because the Medite that this is made from is specifically designed for areas where there is moisture, such as bathrooms and that kind of stuff. So it doesn't need to be treated differently. You can just go ahead and paint directly on top, because that's what it's designed for. Look at that, look. Dirty tweezers, and now I'm going to put something, there we go, lift it off. So that's going to be the label frame for the spine, and then I've got my decorative corners that I'm just going to pounce up and down and do all 8. So I'm just quickly drying off the brass paint. Somebody asked me recently how heat resistant this Medite was, and I had to remind them it was actually wood. So yeah, you know, it's wood, so it burns. But a little bit of hot air is not really going to damage it. But, you know, you set fire to it. Okay, so Ian's back.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm back again.
So
Still alive.
yes, so your injection went okay. did it?
Yes, yes.
You're not taking any blood or...
No, I don't feel faint or anything.
Excellent stuff.
I'll leave you to it.
Okie dokie, talk to you later.
Don't forget, I'll be here on Tuesday with the
I
inserts.
haven't mentioned that yet.
Oh, forget you heard that from me.
Get out.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so we're giving away secrets. Right, so we've done that's the brass basically. Right, he's just thrown me for 6 now. Right, so the Medite's done. Brass is all painted. Look at the nice, beautiful kind of shine on that. The cover, while off camera, I just added a couple of eyelets into the holes, just using the old bog standard crocodile and bog standard eyelets, because the ordinary size 5mm eyelets, or whatever that is in Imperial, the ordinary size eyelets do fit in the holes. There you go. So I'm going to glue these onto here now, and I'm just going to use just ordinary kind of glue. This is a clear spirit glue, but ordinary kind of school glue will work, because we're just going at this part of the label frame is just going on fabric, so that's fine. So PVA will work just on that with no problemos whatsoever. And the corners, because it's wood and you're gluing onto paper, then pretty much you're gluing like for like, or like onto like. So there'll be no issues with that either. So just flip that over and then try and get it in the middle. There we go. That fits just nicely. Right, dead center. And then we can just start adding on the decorative corners. Now, there's 8 decorative corners in the kit, but you don't have to use all 8 if you don't want to. My thoughts behind giving you 8 is because there are theoretically 8 corners. 1, 2, 3, 4 on each page. But if you just wanted to do the outers and not put any in here, then you can always save them for another project. It's entirely up to you. And again, obviously, it really depends on what colour you want to go for. You might want to paint your covers rather than cover them in paper. and do your decorative corners and your label frame in silver, for example. Whichever way you want to do it. But because this is, you know, like the demo one, I'm going to add all 8 of these on. So I'll whip off and do that, and then I'll be back to show you how I'm going to how I'm going to thread the elastic. Okay, so they're all stuck on now. Well, they're all glued. They all just need to be left to dry and set, and then I'll be back with the elastic. It's been an hour or so, so everything's now stuck down nice and firmly. So I need to thread through the elastic now. So I have some thin elastic. Now, rule of thumb for me when I'm doing these kind of elastics is that the one? I've got 1 or 2 different lengths here. Rule of thumb is, for me, is 1.5. Let me turn it around that way. So if you want to know kind of like how to gauge your elastic, I normally do 1.5 heights of the actual journal itself, because you are going to be stretching it to tie it. So the way that I like to do it is I turn it over, so this is the inside of the journal, and then thread the elastic through the holes so that they're going from the inside to the outside, and then tie a knot. So you bring it into tension, like so, and then just tie your knot. And that is pretty much all you need to do, apart from you do need your second one. Right, so your first one is going to hold your main signature. So I've already pre-made a signature here to go into the journal. It's a loose leaf one as well. It's not stapled down the middle, but you could, if you wanted to, put a staple in there just to hold it in place. And then all I'm going to do is just slide that underneath. So that is going to be my first signature. So I have 2 other signatures here, and let me show you how I'm going to connect these. So I've got a second elastic that I've just done into a loop, and again I did rule of thumb of 1.5 the height, and I'm going to just open this signature up to the middle, slide the elastic all the way down. I'm going to leave the knot on the outside. Then I'm going to take a second signature, and what I want to do is I want to back them. So I'm going to open the signature up, and I'm going to feed that through the elastic so that they're back to back. So literally you could just pull them apart and you can see the elastic top and bottom. That's what you want. So bring in your main signature, and then you can take your 2 new ones, open it up and slide those over left and right until they go down to the bottom. And there you go. You've got your traveller's notebook with 3 signatures. And of course you can put in as much or as little into these traveller's notebooks as you want to. Obviously you can commit those, rub them with the bone folder, make them, you know, flatter if you want to, but there you go. Now sometimes I've seen people add a little bit of washi tape just across those signatures, just to kind of give it an extra helping hand, just to keep it and hold it in place, but you don't have to. So those are my signatures. So I wanted just to add a little bit of embellishment on the inside. So I did say that I was going to do this as kind of a field note kind of journal. So I've just grabbed some glue, and what I've done is that using that same K&Co paper, this was from one of the other kind of sheets, I've cut some of the craft cardstock, which is what I've also used for that hard cover. I'll talk about those signatures in a second. And I've done a rough kind of tear, just a square tear. So what I want to do is just rough up the edges on this piece here. So where's my paper scruffer? I've done 2 of them already, just there. But I cut it down just to make it a little bit thinner. So of course this is one of the edge scruffers that you can get from almost anywhere. I know Tim's got one through Tonic. You can get just use a pair of scissors, just the blade from a pair of scissors. But this is a lot safer using one of these. Okay, so that's just scruffed up. I'll just sweep that on the floor for the cleaner. And then I can add some glue onto the back of this. That's coming out rather thick and fast. That's okay. Just yeah. That's the problem with these bottles when they get towards the end. It tends to come out really quickly, which is why I like to use the precision bottles. But my precision bottle is empty at the moment, and I just haven't A, had the time, or B, just not got round to it. Okay, so of course, how you decorate these is entirely up to you, obviously. Right, let's see if we can squeeze a bit more glue out of that one without covering everything. I suppose the trick is to stop before you actually need to stop. That way the glue will just finish coming out on its own. There we go. I think just use a little spreading mechanism. That should do. Okay, so now I'm going to add that just to the inside of the journal as kind of a ex libris plate, if you like. Like that. And then, is that straight? But does it matter? Not particularly. But I like it. There you go. So I've now got my triple signatures. Like I said, you could just hold those in if you wanted to with just a little bit of washi tape, but you don't really have to. Right, so what I've done, when I do my traveller's notebooks like this, I like to have the signatures with a kind of a thicker front cover. So in this journal I've just got some plain kind of parchment paper, but also in that middle signature I've added in some watercolour cardstock. This is like Deakin Edge watercolour cardstock, cotton rag watercolour paper, but you could obviously add in whatever you want. So there you go, that is my Traveller's Notebook collection, or the Traveller's Notebook set. Like I said, these are now available on the website to purchase, so you can grab those now. But on Tuesday, just to carry this a little bit further, on Tuesday Ian will be here because Ian has designed some signatures and some ephemera that fit these journals, so they're appropriate sized for these journals. So he's done a couple of sets of signatures and ephemera that will coordinate with the new art journal kit. So don't forget to join us on Tuesday from 7:30 British summertime, and see what Ian's got for you. So I hope you've enjoyed watching me put this or create this Traveller's Notebook art journal using the new collection or the new set. So if you have enjoyed this, please remember to give the video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. That's all from me for now. I'll see you again very, very soon. Bye for now. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. And don't forget, you can access your exclusive angel-only content over on my website. There's a link in the description area below. Thank you.